With the battle progressing against Sukuna, we see a plethora of characters charging in to fight the King of Curses, with each battle leaving a seemingly permanent scar, with each blow making Sukuna weaker over time. But with a momentary misstep for Sukuna, Yuji Itadori finally manages to hit the biggest Black Flash we ever seen from him yet, with the narrator confirming that Black Flash releases Yuji's true potential through a way of black spars. And finally, Yuji Itadori has awoken. But what does this necessarily mean for Itadori for the coming battle, and how does this evolution play into the potential defeat of Sukuna? What abilities does Yuji have that make him a potential candidate for being a Jujutsu high heavy hitter? Yuji Itadori, ever since the start of the series, has always been someone known for his insane physical ability, breaking world records casually and jumping several stories with a simple jump, and even being so strong that he's compared to Maki, Zenin, someone whose whole deal is being physically gifted. And just like Maki, this is without the uses of curse energy. After learning the very basics of curse energy, he then asks, does this mean I'll get a cool curse technique? To which Gojo responds with no. Curse techniques are typically innate potential, and a Jujutsu sorcerer's skill set is mainly 80% comprised of that. To which it even states that Yuji has none of that. A comment Gojo makes implies Yuji's body may learn Sukuna's curse technique, but in today's video I wanted to discuss whether or not Yuji has access to blood manipulation, the same type Choso and Kamo has, or at least something similar. But before I delve deeper into the video, if you want to see more content like this or similar content, hit the subscribe and like button, as that helps supports me greatly, and comment what you want to see next from me on this channel and I'll upload as soon as possible. Blood manipulation is the ability to control whatever the blood touches, and quoting Megumi, fitting for someone from one of the big three families who values bloodline so much. This curse technique in particular allows the user to use a multitude of abilities, such as being able to increase their physicality, of speed, and AP just by simply doping themselves. It can also create literal projectiles out of blood, or weapons such as knives and daggers, and also according to Megumi, any object with the user's blood on it can be controlled by the user's will. So to kickstart this video and this theory, we have to first look at who and what Yuji is. Although he seemingly comes from a normal family, it is actually revealed that his mother was the previous worst cursed user in all history, Noritoshi Kamo, aka Kenjaku, who had the ability to wield blood manipulation. In addition, we see Choso and the other death paintings, who are the offsprings and technically half-brothers in Yuji, have the main ability of using blood manipulation, and not only Choso can detect and determine if someone is his biological brother by their blood. So this at least gives the idea that Yuji may have the potential or prowess to use blood manipulation, as we see prior curse techniques like this can be inherited throughout the generations through clans and bloodlines. But the moment in which it becomes more interesting for this theory is in chapter 220, where Yuji states he will eat anything to defeat Sukuna. When he talks to Choso, he tells him sorry about his brothers, implying he did consume them, or you could make the case that they perished off screen, although it's more likely my theory is because Choso says this, that the brothers can live on through Yuji, which again implies he did indeed consume them. Now with this alone, you would think Yuji would get a curse technique or a version of blood manipulation immediately, but we see through a flashback when talking about the plan to take down Sukuna. When Kamo prepares to leave, Yuji says thanks for teaching me because Choso is a bad teacher. Now we do see Kusakabe and Mei training and teaching Yuji what appears to be judo in chapter 222, so it's obviously just because someone would teach you something doesn't mean it has to relate to what, you know, your curse technique or what they're teaching. But in particular, the fact that the main duo who use blood manipulation are the ones who teaching Yuji, it seems though they may have taught him how to manipulate it, or at least the basics, but again, that's just part of the theory. The next extra point in this theory is when a piercing blood hits Sukuna. Sukuna assumes that this comes from Choso because of the general direction. However, the thing we have to keep in mind is that Choso has 2 holes in his body and chest, to the point where it leaves him incapacitated, and the blood came from the direction Yuji came from later on when he fights Sukuna. And we actually do see Yuji use what appears to be a version of convergence when the blood he spat on Sukuna's face is able to explode on Yuji's command, which even surprised Sukuna himself. This alone does give rise to the fact that he may have a blood related curse technique, and it makes sense with his relationship to the death paintings. But even if you don't believe that, when Choso actually helps Yuji up, he's about to pass out from exhaustion, he tells Yuji to calm himself. He says, and I quote, "Remember to vision the feeling. Send blood throughout your body as if there are roots, and imagine shaping your body with blood." This very description Choso gave is obviously in reference to Yuji's reverse curse technique, but the way Choso describes it in reference to what Yuji's about to do is like what blood manipulation is explained as. So with all this reasoning and evidence in mind, I believe it's likely Yuji does have access to a form of blood manipulation, if not the same one as Choso does. And this makes sense. Yuji's body is meant to withstand most damage to become a perfect vessel for cursed objects, and obviously him being able to handle Sukuna's fingers, which is implied to be the strongest cursed object, should be a no-brainer. So if Yuji did indeed consume the paintings, then I mean it would make sense for his body to either learn or at least get the cursed energy from them. And of course he may have naturally inherited them through his bloodline, but in my opinion he definitely has the cursed technique. Now, what he can do with this seems the most interesting topic of the discussion. Yuji has always been a hand-to-hand fighter who has the ability to usually overwhelm his opponent with his impressive speed and power, and even using the environment to his advantage at every occasion he can. Defeating characters like Mahito, who has the highest potential in the series, outsmarting Higuruma, a lawyer who's confirmed to be a grade 1 sorcerer, and this is without a cursed technique and without cursed energy. So it's no surprise Yuji is someone that even Gojo admires and someone he believes he can surpass the title of special grade within a couple of years. Now, what does this mean for Yuji if he does have this ability? Well, one of the most underrated usages of blood manipulation that makes up for its hand-to-hand is flowing red scale and flowing red scale stack. When fighting Megumi, Kamo goes from being on Megumi's level to, according to Megumi, has an increasable power and speed that's just on another level, and that's just with flowing red scale. Now, it's not confirmed, but heavily implied that FRS is on another level on top of FRSS, making it even better. As shown now, it was just completely overwhelming Choso to the point where he couldn't even perceive his basic movements, to where he had to activate flowing red scale stack. He can finally not only perceive him and even react to Nalia and force him to even counterattack his attacks. So for a predominantly physical fighter like Yuji, this ability would be somewhat perfect for him and even grant him an advantage that he's always needed for a very long time. Not just making him faster and stronger, but giving him higher reaction speed so he can do more damage and help his comrades. Another important ability would be piercing blood, something that is considered to be extremely fast. Yuji when fighting Choso can keep up with him in flowing red skill stack, yet every time he knows where piercing blood is coming from, he still thinks he has a 50-50 chance of even dodging it, despite predicting the timing. So this to me implies that piercing blood in the case of Choso is several times faster and stronger, even with Choso and flowing red scale at his top speed. Meaning if Yuji can make use of this, it's possible his piercing blood may possibly be faster. But again, this is all within the context if Yuji actually does have the ability to wield blood manipulation. And I definitely think he does, but I want to keep an open mind knowing how Gege likes to write us. But in the latest chapter, we finally get the confirmation that this is indeed blood manipulation, and even get told by Choso that although Yuji isn't anywhere as good as him at Convergence, it still gets the job done regardless. And after all, now that Yuji has successfully landed a Black Flash, this changes everything. Gojo explains in chapter 256 that applying curse energy to a hit at 1/1,000,000th of a second is a vague description of how to perform a Black Flash. Otherwise, Gojo himself, the user of the Six Eyes, was able to spam it thanks to the Six Eyes. He even describes the environment may play a key factor into landing one in the first place because it's literally a distortion in space itself. But that doesn't really matter right now, because as several characters state, hitting a Black Flash once makes utilizing curse energy as simple as breathing air, making it even easier to hit consecutive Black Flashes in a row. With Black Flash equating to a hit to the power of 2.5, it should be no understatement that anyone hit by one would take severe damage even if they are Sukuna or Gojo. But a factor most don't take into account is that Black Flash allows the user to operate at 120% of their true potential in battle, not only increasing their power and speed, but the rate of potential and growth possible over time. Which is why it seems different this time than the other times when Yuji lands a Black Flash, because this is him demonstrating a potential that even Gojo implies he lacks at. But this is great for the current circumstances, as Sukuna with even a single hit from Yuji is implied to be a big enough nerve to the point that even after getting 4 Black Flashes in a row, Choso states that his output and body will still go down regardless, with that in mind, imagine what a blow with Black Flash on top of that would do, and it just seems honestly kind of hopeless for Sukuna, especially since he doesn't have access to a reverse curse technique right now or his domain expansion. Keep in mind, Sukuna, when he's in his 3-finger state, is able to casually regenerate a heart, but now he can barely regenerate 3 hands. In addition to the fact that Yuji is attacking both body and soul, means that not only Sukuna can take the attack as he usually would, but just as Black Flash allowed Gojo and Sukuna to regain output, it's possible Yuji's RCT output will ramp up as well to even higher levels than ever before. But we have seen awakenings like this in the series, with the main one obviously being Gojo returning from a near-death experience to becoming arguably the strongest sorcerer of the modern era when he's just a teenager. And even Maki, somebody who lacks curse energy, has an awakening through her heavenly restriction, allowing her to surpass her limits and become someone on par with even Toji Zenin in his prime. So with all this in mind, what Yuji's awakening means now is a viable chance at victory, finally giving Yuji a spotlight, not just being a cog in the system for killing curses, but an opportunity for him to end the literal king of curses, with his fist being the only opportunity to seize victory. However, I will make a video in the future describing that they do need to end Sukuna now, or why Sukuna's chances of winning are very, very high. But to continue forward, Yuji at this point can hit consecutive Black Flashes, and we even see when he fights Mahito implies that because of Yuji's mastery or uses of Black Flash, he's so impressive that he appears to be using it at will. Now, obviously, you could say that with this awakening that it's possible that Yuji using Black Flash at will might be consistent, or at least just, obvious. But I think right here and right now, this is the point where Yuji Itadori makes his point across that he is different from the others and finally shows us what Gojo meant when he said Yuji is non-standard and has the potential to surpass Special Grade itself. Stories. But that pretty much wraps up the video. If you want to see more content like this, like I said, let me know down below, and thanks for watching.